Hi everyone. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be seeing through the two separate parts of the Kodaly two-part exercise number 12. So I have already gone through and marked all of my solfege, marked all of the modulations, and some of the interesting elements of the piece. You can do that on your own if you care to pause the video now, if you need to, but otherwise, let's get started. So, the first thing that we're going to talk about here is that this piece does modulate, which means we have to alter the solfege. So the piece starts in A minor, and then in the third system, the first measure, on both parts, it switches to the dominant, which is E minor. And that means that there, your mi is then going to be equal to la. So instead of singing mi, you'll sing la. The next modulation that we have is in the fourth system, in the second measure for only the soprano line, we have a modulation back to the original key, which is A minor. So that means that our la is then going to be equal to mi again. Now, that continues like that, and it doesn't, and the bass part does not change back to the A minor as well until the next system, which is your fifth system down. It's going to be that first measure, that 6/4 measure, and there the bass part is changing from that E minor to back to the A minor, which again means that your la is going to be equal to mi now. And then there are no more modulations in the piece until the very end, where we go to C major, but we're only going to do this starting note for that measure, so it's not something that you need to worry about. Also, because it's the relative major of A minor, so your solfege doesn't change, okay? Now, as we go through this, I will stop for a second and I'll say solfege change or modulation or something like that, so that you know where that is happening in case you get a little bit lost. But you might want to put a little star there or put mi equals la at those spots that I told you so that you know what's coming. Another interesting fact about this example is that it is a Baroque example. And one of the ways that we know that it's a Baroque example is several times in this piece you'll see a circle progression in either the soprano or the bass line, I guess we would call it here. A circle progression means you're going to go through the circle of fifths. And so it'll go la, re, so, do, fa, ti, mi, la. And it does that in the different keys, in different parts in this piece, and it's really quite interesting to listen to. So I think that that's all that we really need to talk about for this piece. So we're going to go through first and sing the soprano line using our solfege syllables and our hand signs. It's really important to use your solfege syllables with your hand signs because in your inner ear it connects this position. This is your hand sign for so. It really connects this with a so of whatever key that you're in. So it really helps me, if somebody were to play the tonic note of a key and I do this, it really for some reason just helps you hear it in your inner ear. There's definitely a connection between kinesthetic and oral methods working together here. So it's really important to do your hand signs. So we're just going to go through and sing the top line together, or the soprano line, whichever you prefer to call it. We're going to go through and sing this together with our solfege and hand signs. And then we're going to take a short break, and then we will do the bottom part, or the bass part, however you prefer to call it, with our solfege and our hand signs. And as I said before, I will take a second pause or say modulate or say solfege change at the places where the piece does modulate, which are few, but it's important so that you know that it's happening and so that I know that it's happening. Other than that, let's just go ahead and do this, okay? We're going to start with the soprano line. Do, fa, fa, mi, la, solfege change, mi, fi, sol, fa, mi, la, fi, si, la, sol, fi, di, sol, do, di, la, re, do, di, mi, re, do, mi, re, mi, la, fa, fa, mi, re, la, re, do, di, do, fa, ti, mi, la, si, la, mi, fi, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And that's the first part of the two-part exercise number 12 of the soprano line. Now we're going to move on to the bass line. Since the bass line and the soprano line actually start on the same note, I am going to just start the soprano line on the piano and come in with the bass line. Now, if you're a beginner, this can be a little tricky to hear that octave, so instead you can just start the piece and get your starting note from the piano and then just count yourself in and continue that way. But let's get started then. So, la, ti, do, ti, do, la, re, so, do, fa, ti, mi, la, re, do, ti, la, solfege. La, si, la, do, ti, la, ti, mi, la, so, fa, so, do, fa, mi, la, si, la, mi, fi, si, la, solfege change, mi, do, fa, mi, fa, mi, la, ti, do, ti, do, la, re, so, do, fa, ti, mi, la, re, do, ti, la, ti, do, ti, re, do, re, mi, la, do, ti, do. And that is the bass line of the two-part exercise number 12. So I hope that all of this has been really helpful to you. This exercise is so great for hearing those different modulations. It's a phenomenal example of Baroque music, so if you're studying that, if you have an interest in that, it's great for that. And it's really good for hearing those sequences, those patterns, those circle progressions. It's just a really good example, and you should really practice it and really use your solfege and your hand signs, and once you get it, it feels so great to have gotten it. And if you want, you can even learn one of the parts on the piano and then invite a friend over and play it on the piano, and then you'll be able to hear how it lines up and how the different parts work together, and it's just really great. Or if you're really ambitious, you can try to do it one part in one hand, one part in the other. But this example is really great, and I hope that you have fun practicing it, and come back later when you feel better at it, if you need the time, and sing it with me again, okay?